Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate Excellence Podcast with your host, Tracy Hayes, a real producer, an agent that is clearly the best of the best. She's been recognized here just this past week with the Real Producers Magazine for 2021 as one of the top producers. She is the owner, CEO of a top EXP real estate team. Let's welcome the Hearn of the Hearn Group, Rosanne Hearn, to the show.
Hello.
Welcome, Rosanne. I'm glad
Thanks.
you were able to make it down today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Excellent. So really want to dig in. I hope you had a good Valentine's Day. I saw you posted some roses
I did.
online.
Yeah, my husband gave those to me.
Awesome. Did you guys do anything special? Or
Well, we went out to Vito's.
you actually were able to get reservations?
Well, Saturday.
Okay.
But my Valentine's Day present this year is he bought me an office.
Oh, okay.
So I have an office that's going to be opening up.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah,
there's new
so
news
that's
right
it.
out
That's
there.
right.
Hey,
Yeah.
we got some new
And I
news. The Hearn
figured
Group's
that's a
expanding.
pretty good Valentine's Day present.
Yeah, that's exciting. Because me and my wife, we were both in telecommunications. We met, it's about 18 years ago now. We've been married the last 14 years. And we met talking shop, obviously. She was a store manager, I was a store manager, and talking shop. And how your present is your husband helping you expand your business. That's just awesome. That's just awesome. So, as I like to start every show, is just to get the a little bit to know about you. Where you're from? Where'd you grow up?
Okay, so I grew up a Navy brat. But I didn't travel very much. So most Navy families travel a lot. I didn't. I'm originally from the Midwest, and I kind of stayed up in the Chicago area. So I'd say I'm from Chicago, but I've lived here for over 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Actually,
Okay.
I've lived here longer
Have
than
your
any
blood
place.
thinned out a little bit now? Your blood's thinned out to
I was
Florida.
freezing today. So I have 3 sisters. They all live here. And I met my husband at a law firm. I was working as a secretary.
Cool. So you're
My
a
whole
good
fam-
a good piece of your family's right here in the greater Jacksonville area.
Yes. Yeah. My
Awesome.
parents live in Nocatee. I have 6 kids.
6.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't know that about
Now
me.
I saw you posted something. Were both those boys yours? I noticed something about wrestling.
So one of those boys is his friend.
Okay.
And the other one is my son. And actually today he's at they're at districts. So they're at University Christian having their districts.
Excellent. What time's that? I assume
Right
you're headed
now.
up there. Oh, right now.
I'm not allowed to go
Oh.
because we have figured it out when I go, he doesn't do very well. He's nervous. I don't know why. I don't know.
Mom
why.
makes him nervous.
I make him
Wow.
nervous. So his coaches even said, I'm not allowed to go.
Oh,
I can't go
man.
to regionals either. So they're like, you cannot go. So I'm like, I
All right,
won't,
so for the
'cause he
state
really does
championship, are you going to sneak in and hang up in the rafters and like where he can't see you and watch? Or I mean,
Hell
yeah,
no, I'm going because it's in Orlando. So
I'd have to sneak over for
I'm
that
gonna
one.
have to sneak. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say I'm not going, but really go.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. You went to College of St. Benedict.
Yes, in Minnesota.
What'd you study there? And I mean, what was your at that time? What was your vision of you doing it for a career?
My vision for I always wanted to be a business owner. So, but I was doing psychology.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't decide what I wanted to do.
Right.
But my vision of my life, I thought I would move to New York City and be a real executive. It did not happen. I have 6 kids. It happened later in life. It happened later though. So,
Right. Well, I always thought I should have been a psychology major myself. I ended up in education. That's where my degree's in, because I find people interesting. Yeah, why they do the things they do and so forth. But also from a sales standpoint or a sales and leadership standpoint as yourself, there's a lot of psychology involved in that.
For sure. Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Learning everyone's, I think we were talking a couple weeks ago, we had someone on, we were just talking about, leading different personalities. And the fact that these people, your team, are all 1099, they're all independent mercenaries basically that you
Yeah.
have, and how do you juggle those plates? And everyone has wants to be treated a different way. Some don't want to be talked to at all. Some want a lot of attention.
Right.
And the psychology of that. So I was going on, as I do on every one of my guests, is to try to see what I can find out about you to create some interesting questions. So I was obviously looking in your bio there.
Okay.
And YMCA fitness instructor. What got you in there, and are you still very active in that?
So I work out probably not as much as I should. I mean, I used to work out like 5 hours a day, but
Wow.
I can't do that anymore. I don't know how I got involved in that. I was going, and somebody asked me if I wanted to be a spinning instructor, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I did that for like 15 years. I did spinning.
Wow.
I did body pump. I taught water aerobics. Like a boot camp.
So just someone just trying to get you to come on and help out, all of a sudden expanded into a whole.
Yeah, and I really feel like doing that kind of helped me with real estate too, because I just met a lot. I don't know. Everything I've done has kind of led me to where I'm at right now.
Sure. No, I always believe he has a path for you. I
Yep.
don't know if you're a woman of faith, but
I am.
yes, and that path, that we take, good, bad, and ugly, is preparing us for the next endeavor.
Yes.
So did you feel the fact that you got up and you were running these fitness classes help you every day and get in front of your team, or just even just talking to an individual buyer?
Talking to people. I can making cold call, like all of that, like, because I can just. So I also sold Arbonne.
I did see that in there.
Really helped. That has really helped. Everything I learned from that, because real estate is kind of like
Network
marketing.
Yeah. I think people they underestimate the power of some of these network marketing. If you've never done network marketing, there's some things out there that aren't good. I mean, they obviously you're probably passionate about the product is probably what attracted you in, but the really good network marketing that I've been involved in the years has been very focused on personal development.
Yes. Yep.
And pushing you to be that better person.
Yep. Like mindset, all of it.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. So, so from a career-wise, you thought you were going to be executive. You were in the Midwest at that time, right? St. Benedict is up in
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Oh, my
It's
goodness.
when, and it's when, when they were talking about a couple of years ago, the winter vortex or whatever. Well, that's what it was always like. It was always like that. So
you go over to visit a friend's house and you leave the car running so it doesn't freeze up.
I mean,
right?
in January we didn't have school. It was an elective month.
Oh my God.
So it was really cold. It's like the frozen tundra.
It's a different lifestyle. I always wonder, like living in Alaska, that the totally different lifestyle. But living in Minnesota is close enough.
It's cold
compared to what we do here in Florida.
Even high school was in Chicago. Even from Chicago to Minnesota, that is a big temperature change.
Yeah,
it's different. So. So I was up there. I was cold, so I decided my parents had moved to Jacksonville. My dad got transferred to the military, and I'm like, well, I'm going to go to Florida, and I thought Jacksonville was going to be Miami.
Yeah, it's.
And it
I will be 500 miles.
I know. I saw the moss on the trees, and I'm like, where am I? And I had a really strong accent. My kids still say I do say words funny, but I don't think I have a West accent anymore.
I always remember the first time I came to Florida, we drove, and I grew up in Massachusetts, so we drove all the way from Cape Cod, all the way down, and I remember I know now because I obviously know the area where I was at, and we were going through Jacksonville, and there is the palm trees along the intersections of the highway. And seeing those and going, oh wow, that was so exciting. But I've also lived in Naples, and it's a different climate. Naples and Miami being below that tropical line.
Yeah, right.
There is that really runs through basically about Fort Myers area across, and it is a different climate when you cross and go south of that versus being north here. It does get cold. This is probably the coldest winter that we've had in a while.
I think so.
I mean, the number of days that we've had like sub 50 degrees.
Yeah, it's been chilly this
year.
So.
So you came to Jacksonville. You were doing the YMCA?
I mean, I was here when I was about 21. And I'll put it out there, I did not finish college. I didn't.
Saved yourself some money.
I don't really, and at this point, I don't know if college is for everybody.
No.
I don't think it is. And
I totally
probably
agree.
one of the people that's not, because I'm more of a doer and I want to do. So I did a lot of different things in my 20s. I met my husband when I was like 24, 25. And then when I got married, that's when I started teaching. And I had kids and stuff like that.
Right.
That's when I started teaching at the Y.
So you're at the Y. You said you did that for roughly about 15 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what started to lead you over into real estate? How did you even think about
like
making
everybody, I always liked real, I always liked watching the shows, but my moving in the military and seeing how my parents were treated by real estate agents and how they would like push them into neighborhoods and didn't really help them. And then when my parents were moving here, I was doing all the work, and I'm like, hell, I should just do this myself.
Interesting.
And there were some things that changed in our family, and I said, I can do this now. I can go work full time, because I do this full time.
Right.
And so I just did it. And
That's I've never had anybody say that, but about how the real estate agents were treating your dad or your mom when they were moving, because I could see them having an attitude of, well, they're just going to be here for a couple of years, so let's just slam them in this home and move on to the next.
Now, my mom is a little picky, so there's that. But I mean, I have people. So in the back of my mind, when I'm working with people, I always think of my parents,
right,
and my family, like how they, and I don't
That's
want
powerful.
to do that to them.
That's a powerful statement right there. I mean, to clip that little part of the video is a great soundbite for you. As I've mentioned on the last 2 episodes, I'm going to say it again. I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking just about that. When you're on the phone, because I think they were directing it towards loan officers, but the same for you. That when you're talking to a buyer, seller for you, but also a borrower, you should be talking to them just like it's your cousin you're talking to in the same situation.
Yep, and I do. I treat everybody like their family.
That's powerful stuff. So walk us through. Did you meet somebody in the Y, or what got you to take those first initial steps to getting into real estate?
I just signed up for a class, and yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't like
again, it's mindset.
Some
like,
broker walked in and
this.
said, "Hey, you'd make a good real estate agent." You just said, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna go and expand."
So I don't know if you looked a little bit deeper, but I used to have another team. I had a partner, and she was a friend of my sister's friend who died of breast cancer, and there was a sister. So her and I became friends. She was already an agent, and so she introduced me to Howard.
Okay.
Roundtable.
Yeah.
So I do have to give him.
He's been on the show.
Yes, he has. And he, I really put a lot of what he helped me into who I am today with real estate.
Oh, that's a huge endorsement right there.
Yeah, I always look back at the time I spent there, and it really made an impact. And he really did help me. He was a mentor, I would say. He's
very. He seems to be obviously very hands-on. In his office has grown tremendously. He's got definitely some producers over there for sure, the Cotton team and so forth, that are doing it. And he has, a lot of people. Well, I can't see no one says anything negative about Howard. He does have much like me, a very outward personality, but his heart is in it, and he does. The agents that I've worked for him can only endorse him.
Oh yeah, he's amazing, and Keith too. Both of them they were great. But like I said, everything I've done in my life has been like a stepping stone. That was kind of a stepping stone, and I needed a little bit more. So that's when I went to Keller Williams.
Okay.
And then again, I was there for like almost 3 years, but I felt like I'm one of the top producers. I don't want to be the top producer. I want to be around people who are doing more than me.
Right.
And so that's when I decided to go to real estate.
That's very interesting that you say that, because I think a lot of I won't say a lot of people, but a lot of leadership doesn't understand that about. I'm going to use the term troops in general, the sales force, right? That it's easier for them to recruit when they do have some stallions on the team, some top producers, to bring in more top producers from somewhere else. If you've got a bunch of I'm going to use a term, and I'm stealing this terminology from another podcast, but ponies. If you got a bunch of ponies, the stallions don't want to hang with ponies. And the one thing I think I've learned, I've learned many things in 50 some episodes and having great conversations with people like yourself, is they don't see the other agents as competition. They see them as pushing you being surrounded by other stallions. They're pushing you to be a little bit better every day, pushing you to and it might be some internal competition. We've got to beat that team, or I want to do more volume this year. I want to be, everyone wants to be on the top of the list,
right.
But you don't get to the top of the list when you're chasing ponies. You want to chase other stallions, right?
Exactly.
So I was watching Secretariat the other night on one of the movie channels. Right.
So anyway, so that's where we are now. So here we are today, and I have.
So how long now have you been with your EXP team? How long
It's
the Hearn
funny,
group?
I mean, I started that Hearn group in March of last year.
Okay, so coming up on your first full year.
Yeah, and it's grown since I've gone to EXP. So there's 7 of us on the team plus an admin.
So I don't actually. I'm gonna hold that thought because I'd like to. We're gonna just dig deep into your team and how your inner workings here. So these are some of my get to know you questions.
Okay.
Are you for personal? We talked about personal development with Arbonne and in the network marketing. What do you do to being a leader? You got to keep your sword sharp, and to be a great sales agent, a real estate agent. You want to stay on top of your game. What do you do? Are you a podcast listener? Do you read books? What is your?
Yeah, I kind of do it all. I do a lot of podcasts because I'm driving around.
Right.
I try and read books. I'm doing a coaching, which I've tried different coaching things, and it's all been kind of like, I already know this. Like, I know I need to do this. What I'm doing is for digital marketing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lady named Krista Mayshore. I don't know if people have heard of her, but she's a coach for basically digital marketing and getting into video.
Right.
Because that's what everybody wants.
Right.
So, and I learned a lot.
Right.
I'm like, wow, I'm really. So this, and I'm seeing more people doing it. So it's getting out there that people want the video. My father asked me a question the other day. He said, why are a lot of your guests attractive women? And I said, well, when I go and I'm looking, now I want to talk to everybody, I surely do, but when I'm on social media, those are the people, and it's not required. They're just doing a lot of social media, and they're popping up. And if I want my show to be popular, we're only in 50 episodes. Not when I get to 500, I won't really need to do this, right? But if from 0 to 50, 0 to 100, probably 0 to 1,000. I'm on social media, and I'm saying, who has a social media presence? Who's producing? Obviously, there are some very new people who are very raw, but obviously when I see you pop up on my screen, I'm like, okay, who's Rosanne Hearn? I see who you're hanging out with over there at First Coast. I'm like, she must be doing something. Let me see what's going on. And then the social media presence is where the podcast that you're listening to, I listen to similar ones, and that's where it's at. The video. You got to put out the content. Yeah.
I take it as almost a we talk about sending out cards, remind people who you are, what you're doing. If you can utilize social media, because people are social media junkies. There are some people that aren't Facebook at all, but if you get your audience, your past clients and so forth watching it, reminding them, hey, I'm here. I'm still doing the business. And when when they pop up, they're, Rosanne, I saw her on Facebook the other day. She was at whatever.
Yeah. I mean, one of the little tips that they always say to do, and I tell people to do this, and it sounds so easy, but people don't want to do it, is when you're checking in with past clients or even like nurturing leads, is to send video texts.
Yes.
And
I use BombBomb. I need to use it more. I've gotten so busy. I need to hire an assistant to give me time to do it.
It doesn't even have to be BombBomb.
Right.
It can just be a video from
you can do it on your phone.
Right on your phone.
Yeah.
And I've done it. I can't even believe some of the stuff I've sent, like no makeup. I'm just like, I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna whatever. Hello.
Right. I find I'm lucky here because I work with a large builder that I have a lot of volume. So I have gone back and I was looking at some of my old videos because I'm doing a presentation on Thursday. And one of the things I want to talk about is sending that video message, right?
Yeah.
And the clients, the remarks that I got from past buyers when I sent, whether it might have been just a welcome video, hey, welcome, or hey, you're pre-qualified, congratulations, go get that contract signed, just say, hey, what I tell them the next steps. Or I've taken where, in my world, I've taken a competitor's offer, my offer, put them on the screen and videoed it and talked through it where my little picture's down the bottom, they can see me talking. They can watch it over and over again. They can share it with their spouse, that type of thing, but also they're seeing your face.
And they're getting to know you.
Yes.
They feel like they know you.
Yes, 100%. I mean, I said that to Stevie Hearn when she was here. I said, and just like you today, I'd never met you before coming in and sitting down here today. And I had never met Stevie other than seeing her on social media, but I felt I knew something about her because of the amount of content that she's putting out.
Yeah, well, she's doing way more than me.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
She's just starting.
She's definitely, I mean, that is her marketing, and I will repeat the line for those listening and take Rosanne's advice. You got to get out there and do it. That's who she's listening to. As Stevie said, her friends and family thought she was killing it. That's what they said to her. Oh, you must be killing it, when she hadn't even sold her first home yet.
Yeah, well, I met Stevie probably 3 years ago, and it was at the time when I think she might have just started. Yeah, and people thought she was doing doing
$50 million or something. It's and she's definitely a top producer now.
Right.
She loves doing it. She's gotten better at it. I think that would you agree, one of the fears that people have of the video is they're worried about what someone's going to think about them on the other end. Do they look good? Do they say the right thing? Do they, we all have our own little weirdness about us, everybody, right? That makes us unique. People don't care about that.
No, you just have to do it.
Yes.
Just to get out of your head and just do it.
Yeah.
Like Nike says, just do it.
Just do it. Exactly. I mean, they really, your friends love you for you. There's always someone out there that doesn't like you. Who cares?
That's right. Who cares?
Yes.
At this age,
they're still not going to like
care.
you after the video.
That's right.
So, do you have a, well, you mentioned one person, you may still look at them, someone in the industry more senior to you that you look up to and maybe still use as a resource today?
Oh, gosh.
Does Howard still talk to you after you left him?
Sometimes. No, but sometimes I do kind of wish I could reach out to him and be like, hey, but,
right.
And I was actually just thinking that last week I should reach out and see if he wants to
get a cup of coffee, get caught up, or whatever.
Yeah.
But you're following some people on the podcast. Sometimes I was actually initially when I started learning about podcasting, I became a junkie and I'm listening. I was actually listening to more of the real estate agents podcast. There's that one guy out in Salt Lake City. He's an EXP agent. I can't think of the podcast right now off the top of my head because I've transitioned into more loan officer podcasts right now than him. But initially, I wanted to hear what they were talking about because their audience was the audience that obviously I'm ideally looking for. So I wanted to hear what they were talking about and the different stories that they were telling.
I mean, one of the podcasts is Path to Mastery, and and I just listened to this. They were interviewing an FBI agent and their negotiating tactics and how real estate agents can use the same type of tactics when they're with people.
Right.
And I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. So
when you get to that level, that's super high level stuff.
Yeah.
Right there. But even just taking a couple inches from that and adding it into your game, into your, because negotiations it's chess. And you got to think of that 2 or 3 steps ahead, right? If I move here, they're going to move here, then I'm going to move there, and I'm going to move there, and then that's part of the strategy. And you got to be thinking 3 steps ahead because you want to get them to come to your side,
or even like people's the way that people talk, or things that they're saying, or like their facial, things they're making with their face. It's all of it goes together,
right?
So, like I have a client that I've worked with, and I told them some things, and they did this type of work, and they're like, they're lying to you. And I'm like, what? They're like, yeah, they're lying to you. When somebody tells you too much information, it's not true. Like,
because they're trying to pile it on you. And think, yeah, interesting. All right, so let's we're going to transition here, and I want to really dig into the Hearn Group.
Okay.
So anyone listening, whether it's a possible buyer or seller or an agent out there, because obviously EXPs, you guys are big in recruiting. I mean, I know you probably don't have a set goal because you're just going to attract great people, but are you good with 7 people, or you still want to grab? I mean, what's your vision there as a sense of size, that in the sense that you can still, and control is not the word, I want to positively influence the team without getting too big to where you can't get to everybody.
Yeah,
what's
honestly,
that number you think?
I didn't really want it to grow this big. It just kind of organically happened. So there's 7 actual people on my team, but then in your whatever organization they call it, I have 15.
Okay.
So, and some of them are up in another state, and some are here in Jacksonville. So I don't know, wherever it goes, that's not my main focus.
Right.
I mean, yes, but you naturally attract agents. Like, I have people naturally asking me about it, especially because when I left Keller Williams, they're like, where did you go? And I said, EXP. They're like, why did you go to EXP? And I mean, I will tell you, honestly, a year ago, even more than a year ago, I was like, I will never go to EXP. It's like totally weird. Like, I'm not doing that. So, but I think our world has changed. And I really feel like this metaverse type, all that stuff that's going on, I really think that EXP is going to be a big disruptor with all these other brokerages. So
there's a different game. There's a different team. There's so many flavors out there, so to speak, of how things are structured. You got the Engel and Volkers and Momentum, who are more trying to look for the more experienced top producing agents, and that's who all they want to more or less cater to. And then there's other groups, your Watsons and so forth, that are doing the trainings because they're trying to. A lot of people obviously in this area started at Watson, looking back in their bios, and obviously wherever they're careers take them. Some still at Watson, but there's many people that started at Watson in this area. But there's a different flavor. So I want to dig into, or I want you. Hopefully, you can express to us what is it about the Hearn Group, and a little bit about EXP that makes you different. What is it that some of these agents that you have wanted to come? Why are they telling you what is it about you that, and how you're working your team and catering?
And I really don't know. I don't. I mean,
oftentimes you don't know the secret sauce.
I really don't know what it is.
You just do what you do.
But yeah. I mean, but the people that are on my main team, they are like me, and it maybe has to come from the people before property type. It's really bad.
Right.
Like, all of us are very helping our main thing is to help our clients, and it's not just about the money. So, and we go above and beyond. I mean, we had a girl, Wendy Miller, she's on my team. She had a listing, and then I was with her at the open house, and we've got the buyer. So we had the buyer from this open house, and it ended up that it was just the craziest thing. Her daughter died during the whole midst of this. She had an aneurysm, and so the reason for purpose for buying this house changed. And we were like, that's fine. Like, don't worry about it. We'll help you. So now she's selling 2 houses and buying a house. So I'm still checking right now. I mean, she had it was really just bad.
Right.
But I mean, it's kind of like more of, like I said before, like when I'm helping people, I think about my parents and how would I treat them? And all of us are like that.
Do you think it's one of those things, from a psychology part of it, people like to hang around people that think the same way they do?
Yeah, like attracts like, maybe?
Yeah. Because you're touching on some things there. It was a theme of the relationship marketing podcast I did the other day. It's not how much you know until they know how much you care. And it's really comes down to it. And again, another theme here, Daniel, I mean, we literally, I know when I was learning about podcasting, and in some of the standard questions that I ask at the end to everybody, one of the the podcast guy I was listening to was like, oh yeah, I know if I ask these same questions, I'll have, 1,000 answers to these questions. I could write a book about those answers to those questions. Well, if we were to write a book about the top agents in the area, this is a common theme 99% of the time, talking about going the emotional extra mile, really.
Right.
That caring and showing how much you care, and truly talk to them as if treat them as if they're family. And then obviously we know, there are agents out there that are carrying on relationships after they get the transaction.
Yeah, I mean,
their kids are getting together or whatever, going out to dinner or whatever.
And I mean, this specific person, she was not the nicest person to us. And she had been burned a couple times from other agents. And when all this stuff happened with her, she called me up and actually apologized. And she was like, I didn't think that there were really agents out there like you guys. Like, you guys really do care. And I'm sorry that, I took her past experience and put it on us and was like, had her guard up and stuff with us. But
does that not send a chill down your spine though when someone tells you that?
Yeah.
Because
I actually feel like crying because it was really, her and I have become like very close, and
that's
and it
powerful
didn't start
stuff.
out that way.
Yeah, that is super powerful stuff right there. Because that's another, I'm not dealing with the buyer's not necessarily telling me that as their loan officer. Oh yeah, I'm used to dealing with a lot, but you hear that as they start to get to know you and open up to you. Oh, we've had bad agents before. Now my wife is an agent, so I hear some of the dealings with agents on the other side that almost is like they want to try to kill the deal.
I know. It's like, what's wrong? Like, we all have the same goal. Let's all get to the closing table.
Right.
Let's all be nice with each other.
A story she was telling me the other day was almost like this. The listing agent. I think this in case it was the buyer agent, but the other agent almost wanted to like show their direct customer, the buyer or seller in this case, that they were worth it by trying to negotiate something to a point where my wife had to tell him, said, no, we're done. If you don't want this, move on. I got another offer. And I had to call him out. It's like, why are you fighting with me? You just told me your buyers are, as it was buyers now, because I know to the story, the buyers want to buy the house. Okay, they want to buy the house. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But don't nickel and dime me over a cover for a light fixture.
Yeah. Stupid thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think another thing is all of us are very real. Like, I'm pretty blunt, and I've kind of toned it down a little bit from how I used to be.
You're not as blunt as I am.
I used to be. So, but a lot of us, like the women on my team, are pretty much, we're real people. We're not. I feel like the fake. We're just not that way. We're just.
Well, that's interesting that you say that. It's a thought that I've had. I've never asked anybody this question before. Do you think, especially the clientele that we have buying and selling here in Northeast Florida, do you think as a female that they appreciate you being upfront?
I think so, yeah. And I don't really feel like what is the point of like not disclosing everything and just not putting it all out there anyways? Like, I mean, I just don't feel like that's. And
I think it goes back to treating them like family. You would be blunt with your family and tell them, hey man, you got pie on your face.
That's right. Well, and when and we've been doing a lot of like relocation and international relocation. Like, I'm working with somebody from China right now, and you have to be blunt with them. Like, I would tell them, do not buy that house. Like, this is not the house for you.
Right.
And I can't even do video with them. So they're like really depending on my eyeballs and my expertise in that area,
right.
The neighborhoods. And so I have to be that way. Like, you can't lie about it because they're going to show up and be like, what the heck? This was not the house.
I think in my 16, obviously I'm 30 years in sales, 16 years in the real estate industry. Yes, learning some of our foreign clients actually appreciate you being very stern with them. The more, sidestepping that you do, the more they press on you, the more they want to negotiate with you, to where you just have to say, hey, this is where it's at right here. But when it comes to the business, you could be friends, but I'm hiring you to do a job.
Right.
And the fact that you're upfront on top of it and you're telling it like it is, as a business partner, I want that.
Mhm.
I think anyone smart buying right now, they want that strong person representing them to know that, hey, that's,
Yeah, I think they appreciate that.
yeah,
Mhm.
100%. So, when you first started, see how many years has it been now? When did you start with Howard? It's
It's been almost 5 years.
about 5 years. Did you did you have any sort of vision of where you're at today? I mean, when you look back over the 5 years, we talked about sometimes you're just led down different paths and you follow the path. But when you started, did you have a vision of like, hey, I'm gonna have a recognized team that's successful, and I mean, was that your initial aspiration, or you were just taking one step at a time?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much one step at a time. It's kind of like I said, just morphed into this.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I wanted to make X amount of dollar. Like I was not gonna live anything less than what I was living before.
Have you got there yet?
From what I said, yes.
From when you started?
From when I started, but now I want more.
Yes.
Because I was actually just thinking, I'm like, this was a lot, but now I want more. And I think that's what people. There's a book called The Gap and the Gain,
Mm-hmm.
and it talks about that. Like you should be happy. Yes, you want more, but don't always be so hard on yourself that you have to get, reach more and reach more and more and more.
I found something recently, and of course, this past year is for many real estate agents was their best year, was my best year as a loan officer. You go into it and you're like, yeah, I want to make this amount of money. I'll be happy making that kind of money.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you make that much more or twice that, you're like, hold on a second, I like that, and I think you probably will agree with me. It's not the money.
Mm-hmm.
It's the psychology of doing the right things and then seeing them bear fruit. Right. That's really the high that I get. The check is a measure of that, but it's doing the right things and creating it and making people happy.
Mm-hmm.
People writing good things about you, saying great things about your team and so forth, because that really is the high that keeps you going.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
It is.
We just dabbled on. You just mentioned EXP a little bit, but like you said, at one point you were like, "I'd never do EXP." What got you to jump from KW to EXP?
I mean, there were some personal things. I think the whole pandemic stuff kind of really made a difference, because I always thought like Zoom and not meeting in person and all that was just really foreign, completely strange to me.
Right.
Now I kind of like some of it because it's kind of like for time reasons. You don't have to travel. Like you can just meet on the Zoom calls or whatever. Then they're talking about, I don't know. I mean, there's just a lot of things with. I know they're big on like stock and agent attraction and stuff. That really wasn't what I
Right.
was thinking about. I was more of like, for my business, is this going to be better for me? And I feel like, and when I've told men who were like really into business, they're like, oh yeah, we've been watching EXP. That's a good move. So, I think some people don't know who EXP are, but I think people who are, watching businesses and stuff, they know
Right.
that this is an up and coming brokerage. And it's been around for 10 years.
Right. And I mean,
And it feels a lot like Keller Williams, I will tell you that. Even though you're not with people, but the people that I'm around, and they're not here, they're not local. The organization is from North Carolina.
okay.
And when you asked about if there's somebody that I go to, it is her. Her name's Karen. Because she, and this is probably why she made my choice to come over there. She owned she was an OP of 3 Keller Williams offices. So she's actually producing. She's not just like calling people up, hi, do you want to join EXP?
Right.
So she's actually out there doing the work. And so a conversation with her over a year, it took me a year to come over.
Right.
I decided, what, this is probably, Keller Williams has that rev share too, but it's based on profit share with the office profits. So it's a little bit different. And I never saw any of that money. This
Right.
I am seeing, it's not like a ton, like I could live off of it, but
Right.
it's an extra that.
Do you feel, and I don't know if this is the right word, was KW a little more structured to a point where you couldn't get outside the box where you wanted to be?
Okay, so like I had said, my husband, bought me an office. So I don't have to, and I did take my broker's class. I didn't take the state test yet, but I can have a branch office and not be a broker because it's under the broker
Sure.
of Florida.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I like that because I really don't have time right now to study.
Right.
I mean, I don't. So that has allowed me to have an office where, if I did, I couldn't do that if I was with Keller. You'd have to be a mega agent, and you'd have to have all these criteria, and then, it had to really be under them, and I didn't want to do that.
Right. Like CC Underwood or Christina Welch, who've broken out from Atlantic Partners, they have their own offices, or they're part of their group. So the structure of EXP is a little more flexible.
It's a little more flexible, and I think it's really good for people who are really entrepreneurial because it gives you options. Like, you can do this. You can have a little branch. You can have a branch office. Because people say they need an office to go to, which I agree. I have to have an office to go to.
Right.
I cannot work.
So where is the new office, since we're talking about it?
It's in Mandarin.
Okay.
It's actually in the same complex as the Keller Williams.
Okay.
That was not intentional.
They say that's why Burger King builds across the street from McDonald's. You know what I'm saying? That's
yeah. It was not intentional. So.
Now, is it more of a retail space, or is it actually more of an office?
It's office condos.
Office condos. Okay, but they can obviously. Well, I assume you haven't done your build out yet. You just.
Well, it's there. I mean, it's a resale. So
okay,
and it's pretty much how I needed it to be. So I don't really have to do anything but paint and change the floors out.
But customers can come if they want, or the agents can bring their customers in to sit down and have a chat or whatever. Yeah,
and then we're gonna be. So my husband didn't say this. My husband's an attorney. And he does our title, so he'll be able to do the closings there as well.
Oh, perfect. All in house.
Yep.
Okay. I'm in order I want to ask these questions. These last couple of questions here. What is you think about 5 years ago where you were at emotionally, financially, all the above. What has real estate done for you in the last 5 years, personally?
Personally, I mean, it's allowed me to pay for my kids' tuition and give them things that I probably wouldn't be able to give them if I wasn't working.
Right. Right. So hopefully sending them on a different trajectory. They're not going to be straddled with college debt and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, actually, my son wants to get his license and he wants to work with me when he gets out of high school. He's 9.
Okay.
And I was like, Colin, he's a junior, and I was like, let's. He's like, so he's getting his license in the summer. He'll be 18.
Right.
And I said, let's just see, because it's not what you think, But I think it's good for my.
What
kid.
does he think?
He thinks it's easy money.
Oh.
Yeah. He thinks that it's just you take these people out.
Just the phone rings, go show me a house.
That's right. Well, I'm going to make him lead generate. I'm going to make him do all of it. He's going to have a real good foundation, and he may not want to do it.
Right.
So, I think it's good for my kids have seen that I've worked really hard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've always said, like, we're mother hustlers.
So he's 18 or 17 right now?
He'll be 18 in the summer.
So he was basically 11, 12 when you got started, somewhere in that age.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, he's grown himself,
right?
But he's seen you grow as well. Do you feel he sees you, that he's proud of you? It's just, I don't know what else to say.
He's proud of me?
Well, because you're leading a team. Does it make you feel good in how he sees you today versus if you didn't get into real estate? Not that he would, you're still his mom.
Right,
you're always going to look up to you.
I mean,
but how he looks up to you today and what you've accomplished so far.
I think so, and I think my girls too. So I have 2 older girls. One actually just got married. She's 20. She's a hairdresser. This has been a really good for her to watch me because it's kind of the same thing. She has to build her business and her clientele, and I think she calls and asks me, like, should I do this? Like, how do I do my taxes? So
right.
It's been
right.
I think it's been good for all of them to see that, and it's been that you don't have to, like with her. She didn't go to college, but she got a skill that she can do.
She hopefully enjoys doing.
And she loves it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think that and honestly, my little kids are like, we're going to be real estate agents too with you.
How does that make you feel?
I don't know. I just kind of, I'm surprised because I didn't grow up ever hearing about real estate. So there's that, like,
Right.
like they're in a different world. Like they're in this real estate world where when I grew up, I never even thought about like as a little child. And now, even in high school, I don't remember people even saying, I want to be a real estate agent when I grew up.
Right. Because do they see, because as your business, my business, as the real estate industry in general, I mean, maybe the title people don't do this, but we live our business.
Yeah, we do.
You're carrying your cards all the time. You're not, probably wearing your name tag a lot too.
Some of my kids are like, Mom, would you please stop talking to people? Because they're like, you go talk to somebody and it's like an hour and a half later. And so I said, well, you have to, you have to let people know. I'm like, you need to let people know that,
Mm-hmm.
And my little boy, he does like I'll hear him say, well, my mom sells real estate. So,
they definitely know what you're doing.
They do know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
What are Rosanne's? We got a new agent, maybe someone who's an agent just started. They're hearing you on this podcast, learning a little bit about you. What are your 3 keys to success? 3 things that you do that are more or less a foundation you feel must be done, whether it's in a marketing piece or how you treat clients. What are 3 keys to success if you were?
I would say really you need to lead generate. People want leads given to them. And it looks like, and I just had this conversation with my team, it looks like me and a couple other agents who've been doing this a longer, that things are just falling into our lap. But it happened because, 5-10 years ago, we were doing this. These are people that we've known, they're nurtured, they're
right.
people we've
You're
worked
getting
with.
more because of all the touches you've made to hundreds of people.
That's right. And then once you do, you have to constantly be checking up on them. Like, it's not just a one and done thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to just constantly be nurturing those people, even after the sale. So I would say to keep in touch with them, to, lead generate. Honestly, what I really learned, and most of my business came from, was expired. I called expireds. And I liked it.
Lead generating mean organically is that a term that you guys use in the real estate? I mean, from the standpoint of we're at your kid's ball game or wrestling match, everyone knows what you do, how casually you do it, but everyone knows Rosanne, the real estate agent. That's what you do.
I'm saying yes, with your sphere of influence is what we say. You want to work that, and I'm going to be honest, I didn't work that very much.
So working harder on your sphere of influence would definitely be a tip, but that lead generations. I'm doing a presentation on Thursday, and one of the things that the first part of it is talking about the inches all around us, meaning there's a lot of things you can do to lead generate that don't cost you anything.
No.
The circles that you're already involved in, whether it's your kids or your clubs or whatever, those things are all around you, and you have to nurture everyone, whether it's through social media or sending them a card or showing face at the neighborhood cookout or whatever.
Right. I would say so lead generating, however you do your lead generating, and the lead generating can even be on social media, like the videos that you're doing, and all, because that's more of where things are going right now. A lot of people are getting there.
Top of mind.
Yeah, you want to always be top of mind, and people from all over can see your videos on YouTube. Like, I know somebody like that's his whole business, is his YouTube videos. So, that's what I would say, focus on that. I wish I would have done that, because I had always thought in the back of my mind, we need to be doing videos. We need to be doing that. Like 3-4 years ago.
What's so amazing about it is, yes, Stevie Hearn started 3 years ago, but that doesn't stop you from starting today.
I know, and I'm right. And then this year was my year where I'm going to be like. So when you called me about the podcast to do that, I was like, yes, I'm doing it totally. Videos, like I've been doing a lot more videos than I ever have. So start now. Like it's not too late.
So one is, got to generate it organically, social media, that sort of thing. What's another key to success?
I think you really have to have a big why. If you don't have a big why, what's the stuff that you have to do to get there? It's not. It's going to be. It's not going to be as easy. I don't want to say easy, but you don't really have like something propelling you forward.
And let me relate this a little bit. I think when you say a big why, are people like, oh, they want to say, oh, I want to provide this for my kids or whatever. But why also is got to have a plan or a vision. Many people ask me about the podcast. I get asked all the time. If you don't have a vision of a long-term play, don't start a podcast. This is because the people who don't have the long-term vision. Oh, you did a podcast? Did you get any calls for a loan today? That's not how it works.
Right.
You did a video. Did you get people to call? No, it's not how it works.
It's a long game.
It's a long game. It's the long game. If you want to go out, if I want to go out and have lunch from 8 to, or coffees from 8 in the morning to 5 at night with real estate agents and just ask every agent, do you have a deal going on? Yeah, I might be able to find someone has a deal going on right there and then that they may say, yeah, go ahead and see what you can do. That's only going to get you through today. It's you got to put these long-term plays like you have, touching all the circles around you, and now those leads are coming in because people are going, hey, do you know a real estate agent in Jacksonville? Oh yeah, Rosanne. She sends me a birthday card, Christmas card, whatever it is. Yeah. Okay. So the why in a plan, and then what number 3? What would you?
The why? The lead gen. I really do feel like I know it's old school, but it's really the lead generating. Because if you don't have any people to work with, you don't have a business.
And it sounds difficult to some who actually hear that, but and one of the things I talk about on Thursday when I'm doing this presentation from these other loan officers, sit down and think of the people you're touching and go out and touch them.
Well,
touch these people that are reachable, that are
even like I said, those 10 text videos, like you do that daily, like do that to your friend, and don't talk about real estate. Like send them a happy birthday, see how they're doing, happy Valentine's Day.
What you doing this weekend? Right. Had a good restaurant last weekend.
Or
thought I'd recommend it.
I thought about you. We haven't seen each other for a while. Stuff like that. It doesn't have to, and it really shouldn't be all about real estate. Like you're asking for business all the time.
Joe, I can't think of his name. The guy who wrote I mentioned this before. I actually looked him up today to learn more. The guy who sold 13,000 cars in his, 15-year car sales. Of course, he's now a national speaker and so forth. And all he was writing was cards just saying, "Hey, I like you. You're great. Whatever." Every month, with his business card in there, and it just grows and grows and grows, and obviously building those relationships. So what is it about real estate? This is the last question, formal question anyway. What is what is it that you love about real estate the most?
Oh, I think there is like a thrill of getting things. Like I said, I call expireds, but it's like you get like a real high from it when you get that listing from it. Like it's like, oh, I'm gonna get another one. So
because you turned them.
Yeah, because I talk to them. I pretty much like convinced them to use me, and so I like that. But I love meeting people and hearing their stories too. So I really like. When I work with both buyers and sellers, but hearing people's stories, I don't know, it's just, it's very interesting to me, and where they came from and why they're
that's
here.
your psychology major right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. I love all that. Like I always tell my husband, like, he's like, who are these people? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, well, they're really interesting. Like you'd really like them if you met them.
I have said it on the show before, the amazing that everyone has a story. And to sit down and one of the fringe benefits of the podcast is today I got to spend an hour with you talking about learning about you and your business, and hearing your story, and everyone has one, and that's one of the side joys of doing this.
Yeah, I bet that is interesting.
Yeah. As I said, I've got a lot of recordings to go through to write a book. All right, we're going to wind up because we're closing in on close to an hour here. Okay. So these are my standard ones that I ask everybody. Is it more important who you know or what you know?
I'm going to say my gut answer is who you know.
Well, there is no wrong. What's for you is
it's kind of who you know.
Yeah. What in your life I guess led you to that answer?
I think just the people I've met, they've just taken me further. like, and it's happened like organically.
Right.
So, I have a lady on my team. Her name is Gail, and she is a broker from New York, and she's been a broker for 30 years. I have learned so much from her, and she has helped a lot of people, like with newer agent. I mean, it's like God just put her in my path.
in your as part of your team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. To me, yeah, I agree. I'm a who you know. Occasionally, I have some people say the what you know, but I think in our business, there, and especially in the technology age this day, you can get on YouTube and spend your evening on YouTube and learn a lot about a certain subject.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly. But it's those people that you meet on a daily basis and build those relationships with that move your game along. Mm-hmm. That's right. You and your husband, what's on your travel bucket list?
Well, we had a lot, but COVID happened.
Yes.
So we haven't gone anywhere. We were supposed to go on a Baltic Sea cruise.
Oh.
We were supposed to go to Costa Rica. We haven't done any of that. So I don't know I don't know.
You got to replay. Well, those. I mean, you obviously got to reschedule the Baltic Sea cruise.
I know.
Yeah. That sounds interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Last question. I added this in here. I don't know, a few weeks ago, but who do you think would be a great guest to have on my show?
Oh gosh. Have you interviewed Shonda Campanero? I don't think
she's on my. She's the 3rd, March 3rd.
Well, there you go.
Okay.
She's already coming.
Actually, her team's coming on. Looking forward to that. She's been, she's tearing it up at Berkshire Hathaway.
Oh yeah.
She tears it up, and she has a subtle social media presence. I love the picture she has with her girls. They're all wearing white. They look like Charlie's Angels, the way they pose it up and everything. We'll talk about that, but yeah, she's definitely going to be on the show. But Rosanne, I appreciate you coming on today.
All right. Well, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
I enjoyed it.
If anyone wants to reach out, what's the best way to contact you, whether it's a buyer or maybe an agent who just wants to talk to you about EXP?
I would just call me directly or text me. That's the best way. Should you want my number?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's 904-316-2576.
And we'll put your social media links and so forth in the show notes. So anyone wants to reach out to you that way, or just follow you.
Yeah, or follow me
what
on
you're
Instagram,
doing.
Facebook.
I got great advice the other day from a couple ladies, Britt and Kayla, who had on. They were talking about, if you want to meet somebody, if someone wants to meet you, go on their social media and see what they're all about. What they got kids,
I mean, we do that with buyers and sellers too. We look them up on social media to see who they are.
Get to know them, and again, how many kids? Like I knew, your son was in wrestling just by watching on the social media. So, appreciate you.
All right,
thank you.